be back in Oregon, and over the last 15 months we've traveled to every corner of the United States. I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go.
57, 58. Anyway, that was Senator Barack Obama this past Friday, forgetting the number of states in our great country. And meanwhile, in Kentucky, the Illinois senator is circulating this ad chock full of religious imagery, but has yet to receive any criticism from members of his own party. Now, of course, we all remember the heat that Governor Huckabee took from the left for the bookshelf turned cross in his Christmas message. So why isn't Barack Obama under fire from those same critics? The answer should be obvious. We continue now with our panel. I want to go back to Julia for just a second here on this issue of Farrkhan. Here's the question here.
Sure.
He goes to the home of an unrepentant terrorist to seek his approval as he's running for office. We know that. He hangs out with Jeremiah Wright for 20 years, claims that's not the man that I knew. I don't find that honest or believable. He goes to the Million Man March and is on the cover of a magazine with Louis Farrakhan, one of the biggest anti-Semites and racists in American history.
Well, he didn't choose that.
I'm sorry?
He didn't choose to be on the cover with him.
No, he's on the cover with it. And look, if he would have distanced himself from Wright 10 years ago, I don't think it would be a problem. If he would have, if he would not have given speeches with a guy that's proud that he blew up the Pentagon and Capitol, I don't think it'd be a problem. I think after that magazine came out, I would have been pretty ticked off knowing the history of Farrkhan, but he went to the Million Man March. Do any of these associations bother you?
You're talking about, I mean, how many people are on that cover? I need you to answer
the question. Do any of those associations bother you?
The associations, it's not up to me. It's up to the American people.
I didn't ask if it was up to you. I'm asking, can you please answer a question? Do any of those associations bother you?
The way you're framing them, I could see how it could bother some people, but I really think that it's up to Barack Obama to tell us. He wants to be president.
He's friends with a guy that bragged about bombing the Pentagon, the Capitol, and New York City Police Headquarters, says he doesn't regret it and wish he did more. That doesn't bother you, Julia. That doesn't bother you.
Nobody supports what Bill Ayers was saying.
I didn't ask you. He's friendly with him. Does his friendship bother you?
Is he friendly with him, though? Is he friendly with him? I am comfortable with this man
David
running for president.
They have a friendly relationship, quote unquote.
Okay, so they have a friendly relationship.
So would you be friends with a guy who bombed the Pentagon? I wouldn't be friends with a guy who bombed the Pentagon.
I probably would not be friends with a guy who bombed the Pentagon.
So should the President of the United States be friends with a guy who bombed the Pentagon?
The guy who's going to possibly be president of the United States has a lot of friends, a lot of people who give money, and a lot. I hear what you're saying,
You got to go work for Hillary. You're getting good. All right, Bill Salmon. Look, Bill, it's not a matter. If he would have left the right church 10 years ago, like Oprah, I don't think he'd have a problem. That would have shown good judgment when he discovered how extreme he was. If he didn't associate with Farrakhan, go to the Million Man March, wouldn't have been a problem. He's not responsible for the cover, but the William Ayers thing, I think, is the single most damaging credibility issue for him. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, and you talk about credibility. Why did Barack Obama, if all of this is a surprise to him, why did, when he announced his candidacy, uninvite Reverend Jeremiah Wright from the ceremony and pray with him quietly and secretly in the basement? He obviously, and Reverend Wright even said to the New York Times that he had a conversation with Barack Obama and they acknowledged that the association was going to be a problem. So this just wasn't a bolt from the blue at the press club. Barack Obama has known about this for a long time.
How has Sean Hannity been able to sit next to me for 11 years?
I can answer.
How has he been able to do this without walking away and disassociating himself from me, and nevertheless he shows up every
terrorist are you friends with? Are you friends with a terrorist?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Because
typical liberal won't
bring it up every single night.
Will you answer the question? Are you friends with terrorists?
I'm only friends with good people, but the fact of the matter, because I'm a liberal, but the fact of the matter is that they're not friends. They live in the same neighborhood.
No, they said they're friendly. Excuse me,
Sean,
David Axelrod
you've had your chance to speak.
I know, and I made a lot of sense.
And now I will speak.
Do you have to? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. He's a guy who, they live in the same neighborhood, their kids go to the same school, they sat on the board of the Woods Foundation, so did Republicans, by the way. I guess they can never run for president. Bill Salmon, this has not hurt him. In fact, let me go to Amanda on this, because, Bill, you've weighed in. Amanda, this has not hurt him in the race so far. His numbers keep going up. He does very well. He is resonating with the American public. Whether or not you want to acknowledge that, this has not hurt Barack Obama.
Oh, I think a lot of this has hurt Barack Obama, especially the ties with the Reverend Wright and the questions about the black church. I mean, what this elongated Democratic primaries exposed is Barack Obama's inability to get the white vote. And I think this is a direct correlation to the ties to Reverend Wright's church and people's reaction to what's going on there.
You're making a racial issue of it where there is none. African Americans are certainly voting for someone they've never had a chance to vote for before is likely to become president.
Yeah,
that's not surprising.
Yeah, I think it's very surprising that they vote for Obama 90% and up every single time in the last few races.
Black people have had years to vote only for white candidates. They've never really had an opportunity to vote for an African American. For years they voted for white people. Why should you be surprised?
Because I don't assume that people vote according to their epidermis.
Well,
no, I mean, people vote according to where they live, and people who locally are able to vote for candidates, you know, congressional candidates in a majority-minority district have not had, people outside of those districts haven't had the opportunity to vote for someone like Barack Obama before.
Well said, Julia. Thank you all very much for being with us tonight. Coming up, will John McCain's